Hey ladies, I am really excited to pop on here and just kind of share some thoughts and encouragement as we're continuing on with many weeks of this quarantine. I feel like some really good news is that I could be wrong, I heard that it peaked. So hopefully we will start being able to see life go back to normal here soon. And as I've been thinking about that, I feel like God has really placed on my heart just to really be prepared for going back into normal life. This has been an interesting time, and you guys all know it's definitely been hard for me in different ways. I've shared many times I'm a super extrovert. I totally struggle with Zoom. I feel like it's mocking me, like, haha, you think you're connected, but you're not. And I definitely went to Trader Joe's today and just did not want to go home. I was just like, what if I just sit in my car for a little while longer? I'm definitely struggling with that social distancing and just being stuck at home. I just want to give hugs. I want to see people's faces that aren't the same 5 faces I've been seeing for weeks and weeks now. But I also feel like there's been a lot of blessings that have come from this time, things that I will probably never be able to get to experience or replicate in any other time ever again in my life. And I feel like a lot of us are in that same boat. This hasn't necessarily been the easiest thing. There's some of us who are working and their workload has just gone up a ton. I'm thinking about the teachers in our churches. I'm thinking about the people who are working with elderly in our church. People who are EMTs and making antibiotics for this sickness. And I just know that this hasn't been the easiest thing. But again, I feel like even with all that, there have been certain blessings that have come from this time, whether it has been, even if we're working at home, being able to spend more time with our children and go outside and be with them, watch them learn, see what interests them, what doesn't. Whether it's been being able to sleep in and get 8 hours of sleep every day. I know for me, that has been one of the most amazing blessings, is just being able to actually get 8 hours of sleep every night. That has never been something I've been able to do my entire adult life. So I am loving it, and I'm definitely afraid for when that time goes away. But with that, I think it's important for us to recognize what these blessings are. I know a lot of people, through talking to all of you guys through Zoom or phone calls, I feel like God has really placed things on your hearts, and He's been calling you to certain things. And there's probably a lot of things. We've been able to have these amazing quiet times, and we've been able to pray more, and we've been able to really dive into Jesus and be intently in our words. We've been able to spend great time with our families and all this quality time. We've been able to focus on things that God's been like, hey, you got to change this. Let's work on this. There's been a lot of things that I've heard from you guys that you've been doing as families or just personally that God has kind of led you to. And that's what I want to kind of focus on and talk about today as we start transitioning out of the quarantine, which we're not there yet, but honestly, probably in the next couple of weeks or months, hoping that it's weeks, we'll be able to start kind of going a little bit more back to a normal life. And I want to look at James 1 today. In verse 22, it says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." As we start going back to a normal life here eventually, I think it's really important for us to not be like the person who looks in the mirror and then forgets everything that they saw and goes right back to living that crazy life, right? Where we weren't able to get 8 hours of sleep and we weren't able to do all this time with our family. We weren't able to read multiple chapters of the Bible or go on multiple prayer walks a day or whatever it is that we're able to do that we're really cherishing. I don't want us to be, I know I don't want to take this time and just like forget it, right? God, I think, has really been present in all of our lives and leading us in certain things and really calling us to focus on certain things. And I'm not saying we have to live exactly how we're doing and doing all the things we're doing now as if, and take that into the normal world when it goes back to being normal. That's impossible. We're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to be able to carry in all the things that we're doing now and take that with us. But I want us to really start practically looking at and thinking about, what is it that God is telling me, hey, this is what you need to take with you. Through this time, I'm leading you here. I need you to take this with you when everything is done with this quarantine, with the pandemic. What is that thing that God has really placed on your heart and He is telling you, hey, don't forget this. Don't be a person who looks into the mirror and then walks away and forgets what they look like. You need to take this along with you. I think for me and my family worship is definitely that thing. I feel like we were kind of starting that as a family right before the quarantine hit. But the quarantine has really allowed us to turn this into a beautiful habit and into something that has been amazing for my family. And I feel like God has been like, keep this up. This has been so good for your family. This is the direction you need to go in even after all this is over. And I know that that's going to be a challenge. You know, Luke and I, we have our schedules are kind of all over the day, but evening is a big one. And sometimes we have people over for dinner, or we have devos, or we have Bible studies, or different things that are going on in the evening. But Luke and I have, Luke and I have talked about it, and we are committed to making sure that no matter what, we are carving out 15 to 30 minutes to do family worship with our family every single night. That is a priority, and we're going to stick to it. So that's where I feel like God is really leading me to hold on to not forget this time, but to actually do it, even when this is all done. And I'm just encouraging you guys as we are progressing through this, and as God has allowed us to have this time with our families and extra sleep and whatever it is. Even if it's like a Sabbath, being like, I've been really enjoying this rest. Like, I'm going to take a once a week to just kind of have a Sabbath and find rest in God, and have that day where I sleep in 8 hours plus, and have that day where I'm reading multiple chapters of my Bible. Whatever it is that God is calling you to hold on to, even when this is all done, start preparing for that. Start praying about it. If you're not sure what that is, pray to God. Ask God to really reveal to you what He wants you to take along with you after this is all done. I miss you guys. I know I say this every week. I definitely miss you guys. I cannot wait to give so many hugs and just to see your faces and to hear your voices and for everything to be in person again. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm praying for all of you, and I'll see you on the next video. Love you guys.